wasn't too bad. It helped an additional few people to get onto the... Okay. Before I start, any questions from you regarding assignment 1? Okay. Today is the 17th of August. Your submission date is the 4th of September. Okay, the 5112s are the 31st of August. So, yeah, please don't stick to the paths. I did check just before I came online. I did check that the latest version is version 1, and it still says the 4th of September by 23:59. And the 4th of September is a Friday. Okay. Just a bit of a heads up there. I would try and submit it by Wednesday or Thursday sometime, just in case you've got a technical issue, because submitting on a Friday night and it doesn't go through, or there's something wrong with your computer or whatever, when Murphy just climbs in and has a field day, you are going to have a very anxious weekend because you're not going to get any reaction from anybody, and you know that I can't help you. Okay. That's one thing that lecturers don't have any jurisdiction over, is giving you a reprieve on your submission. Okay. So yeah, please make sure that you have submitted it by, I would say, Thursday afternoon at the latest, so that at least you've got Friday to try and sort it out. Okay. And then, as I explained in our first collab, that there is a policy if you miss the first deadline. In other words, if I've got a flag on my side which says it's late, you get -15. Okay, you can submit it late, okay, after the first deadline, but if you miss the second deadline, okay, then you get 0, and then you have to basically, yeah, you have to almost give them a DNA sample to try and get to prove to them that there was a problem with your submission. Okay. So please, that's very important, okay, because out of a group of 30, at least 2 students, that will happen to 2 students. And the other thing is that students don't submit the right assignments. Okay. That's probably 2 out of the 30 as well will submit, and that's stats, that will submit the wrong assignment because they've gone on to student materials on the ARC. I mean, not on ARC, on the student portal, and they've grabbed the first assignment they can see, and sometimes it's the 5112, sometimes it's an old one with that they don't know where to get. I had it today with full-time students. Can you believe it? And the assignments I've uploaded into ARC under module information, that's the correct one. If it's okay. So please, terms and conditions, these people are very harsh about it. Right, let's carry on. Okay, it's module 5121, it's BMAD. It's the first section of the module. Okay. The total of the assignment is 100 marks. The case study is Yoko Technologies. Okay. Mandatory submission requirements, you need to research more than 3 credible, well, your book and I would say 2 credible academic sources. Okay. And I include AI with that as well, as long as you reference it correctly, and as long as you don't cut and paste. If you use it as a source like you would use your textbook, then I have no problem with that, but we will see what happens when I'm starting to mark your submissions. Okay. There is a I'm not sure whether it applies online, but I will confirm, but in the full-time space, we are now 15% for late submissions. You can get a maximum of 10% for your referencing penalties, and the lecturers are now allowed to subtract up to 25% for incorrect use of AI. All right. So please use it wisely. Okay. Don't cut and paste. And I'm speaking to the people that are not online now, and I'm going to tell, that's what I'm saying. Okay. You're going to get hammered if you cut and paste from AI. Okay. So please paraphrase. So when using AI, you paraphrase. Excuse me. You paraphrase as you would using your textbook or another source. Okay. Please don't use Wikipedia, because you know that anybody can change and add and subtract to Wikipedia and be mischievous when they're going into that sort of thing. All right. Okay, so the application, you'll see that the marks are split between theory and application. And that's going to be in 5112 as well. And most likely when you get to BCom in the business management modules there as well. Okay. And then I'll explain as we go along with each question. All right. And then referencing, all citations must follow the IIE Anglia, Harvard Anglia reference style. And there's a lot of information on ARC. I've actually uploaded a sound bit for you based on one of the full-time spaces integrity officers that gave a PowerPoint presentation to our students last semester. Okay. So what I did was from that PowerPoint presentation and included the guide, and I got Gemini Notebook to create a blog for you that you can go and listen to, which is pretty much accurate, and it covers everything. Okay. If you haven't been through the whole online library and information system. General instructions, no copying material. If you're quoting, not more than 10%. So you must read the instruction sheet on the cover of each assignment. And that's pretty much that you must get used to, because that's what it's going to be for the rest of your studies. Okay. So there's 2 questions in this particular assignment. Okay. The 50 marks and question 2 is with 50 marks. But question 2 is an essay question, and it gets marked according to a rubric. Okay, and I'll go through the rubric with you. Okay, so 1.1, okay, there's your break of your different questions. Formal and informal sector, need satisfying organizations. The 4th Industrial Revolution, the vision statement and evaluation, value creation via entrepreneurship, and exchange as a business element. Okay, that's question 1. Okay, so we're going to go through each of these questions. Okay. If you have any questions, please put up your hand while I'm chatting, and then I'll attend to it while it's still fresh in your mind and still if not, then you can ask them afterwards, or you can, what's the name? Okay. I'm just looking at. Okay. All right, so I've given them the alignment to whatever learning unit it is, with the learning unit 1 with learning outcomes 2. So that's just a technical thing that you can go and have a look at that well, that's just to find the answer to the question as well, and to have a look at it, and then when you research. Okay, so the exact question is, Yoko's products help formal and informal businesses differentiate between formal and informal sector. So they're asking you what is an informal business and what is a formal business. Okay. So the mark breakdown will be 4 for theory and 4 for application. So what means there is that you need to give me, you need to give an explanation, definition, a version of what formal sectors and informal sectors. So the formal sector obviously registered tax, a whole regulated thing, whereas the informal sector is, which is quite large in South Africa, is unregistered, cash dependent, unbanked, etc. And often the informal sector, because of the red tape of small business, they are actually forced underground to operate on an unregistered basis because they can't afford to be regulated. Okay, so the theory will be 4 marks. You have to explain what informal and formal sectors are. Okay, so that's a generic discussion. Then what they want you to do, and it's going to be like that all through your academic career with business management, they're going to ask you for the application. So you have to go to the case study, okay, and you have to give examples like spaza shops, market traders, salons, okay, and then transitioning from, how do we transition from an unregulated to a regulated, okay, because often when you're using a digital payment system, okay, they have a thing called the National Payments Association, which is a regulator which doesn't allow people to use payment systems if they're unregulated or unregistered. Okay, so you probably going to have to do a bit of a deep dive there into the payment systems that are controlled by the Reserve Bank in South Africa. Okay, and just remember, if it says, and this was the objective of, well, not so much your ICE task, but was for 5112. If they ask you, if they give you 6 marks, give me 6 marks worth. Okay, so don't give me one line there and one line there, because obviously one line's not maybe give you a maximum of 2 marks per line, but it's not going to give you 6 marks. So please shuffle your answers according to the marks. Okay. Okay, let's have a look here now. Question 1.2 is need satisfying organ. This is for 10 marks. And again, it's the same, theory and application. So what is the question? To discuss the different types of need satisfying organizations and identify which type of need satisfying organization Yoko represents. Motivate your answer. Okay, so it's 5 and 5. So the theory is, I would explain what is a need, explain the 3 types of need satisfying organizations: profit seeking, non-profit, okay, and state-owned and or public enterprises. Okay, then identify Yoko as a profit seeking enterprise, and then motivate. So again, 5 marks for the theory and 5 marks for applying it to the case study. Okay, and it has to be the Yoko case study. In some submissions previously, I've had assignments where students would give wonderful examples, but they would be absolutely random to whatever the case study was. Okay, so please stick to the case study. 1.3 is the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, it's learning unit 1, learning outcomes 2 and 6. The question is, discuss how goods and services and processes as elements of business are impacted by the fourth industrial revolution in the context of Yoko. Okay. Split, it's 3 for theory and 3 for application. Okay. Now, application means, because some students, not being English mother tongue speakers, often ask me the question, what does application mean? It just means I'm taking this theory and I'm analyzing it and applying it to the case study. That's all that it means. Okay. So this theory, you would say, what is the fourth industrial revolution, especially in the African context? Okay, and how it transforms physical products, service delivery, and operational processes. How does it do it? Now, this is the whole technological industrial revolution, but it's been driven by technology. Okay, then the application is again, directly to Yoko. All right. So the example with things like smart cards, Kuma Squad, card readers, services, online payment platforms, and analytics suites. Okay, then processes, automated self-service, onboard, and instant settlement. Okay, so they just give you an example of what you can go and have a look at. Okay, then question 1.4 is worth 15 marks. Please, guys, remember, you're more than welcome. Okay, there's a hand up. Yes, put your mic on and ask me and your question. Unmute your... Is that you that's saying, will you put this PDF on ARC? It's a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, I will. Yeah, obviously it'll be in the recording, but I will upload it as a separate document to the assignments tab. Okay, under module information. Does that help? Does it help? Okay, okay, that it does. Okay, so ooh, what happened now? Sorry. Not what happening there. I'll have to go back there again. Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you. Guys, don't be shy to put your mics on and speak. Okay, so we were on to question 4. The spelling mistake. All right. Question 4 is the vision statement evaluation. This is a favorite. It's 15 marks. Okay, then the split here is they're going to ask you 10 for theory and 5 for... So that's going to be the whole thing on what makes a vision statement a good vision statement. And there's questions that have to be asked. So there's a heck of a lot of theory that you're going to... And they love asking... promise you they love asking you this in the exam as well. It's one of their favorites. Because it's a simple question to ask and a simple question to answer. Okay. So what they want you to do is they want you to take the theory, okay, you probably only have to use the textbook here, okay, and then apply it to Yoko. Okay, so you have to define a vision statement and explain 5 criteria of a strong vision statement. So that 5 criteria is in your book. Okay, remember all your assessments are directly designed from your textbook. Okay, and your exam also comes 100% out of the textbook. Okay, so you have to give this whole theoretical process or definition of what is a vision statement, the criteria, and then you have to go and evaluate Yoko's vision, which is to open commerce and remove payment barriers for small firms against your 5 chosen criteria. Okay. Same sort of thing will be asked in the exam, except you just don't have access to your book to do it. Okay, and that's 15 marks. Again, look at the 15 marks, construct your sentences, and make sure that you give me enough information to give you the good marks. Okay. All right. And then I think it goes up to 1.6. Then we've got value creation via entrepreneurship. Sometimes with business management, the wording can be very ambiguous, in other words, double meaning. Okay. And this is what I love about AI is that if I find something that I don't quite understand, I ask AI, listen, I've got this. What do they mean by this? What is value creation via entrepreneurship? It's going to go look on the huge database where you're not in the book, for instance, and it will give you some kind of an idea. So you're throwing an idea into AI and you're getting an, okay, then once you've got that, you've determined what value creation via entrepreneurship means. Okay. You can then go and zone in on answering the question. Okay. Because yeah, it's going to ask you, explain how value is created through entrepreneurship in the context of Yoko. Okay. And it's 4 for theory and 3 for application. Okay. So in the theory, you explain how an entrepreneur generates economic and social value, creating jobs and et cetera, et cetera. In other words, market access, job creations, and efficiency. And in the application, explain how Yoko creates value for micro traders, enabling tap to pay, improving safety, reducing cash risks, and generating transaction history for credit access. Okay. So, like I'm saying, if something seems a little bit airy-fairy and ambiguous and that kind of thing, ask AI, ask Gemini, ChatGPT, what do you understand by this term? All right. But remember again, if you're using things like that, then please reference it. Okay. Then the exchange process is 1.6. Okay. Discuss exchange process as a key element of business in the case of Yoko. Include examples from the case study to support your answer. Okay. So the mark breakdown is 2 marks for theory and 4 marks for, let's call it, practical application. So in this theory, they want you to explain what is exchange. So it's two or more parties trading items of value voluntarily. Okay. So you have to give an explanation there. Please don't go and give your own explanation. Paraphrase all your theoretical things must not be quotations, but paraphrasing what the textbook or the source that you're using says. Okay, then the application, Yoko, merchant, point of sale, hardware and or software traded for transaction fees and or purchases. Okay, then the merchant, consumer, goods and services traded for digital card payments. Okay, so yeah, again, a lot of technical terms that may be a little bit strange. Okay, chuck them into AI. Even chuck them in just a Google search will give you an explanation. All right, that's question 1, which is worth 50 marks. And there's quite a distribution and there's quite a lot of work involved in there as well. Okay. Question 2 is the big one. That's the essay question. And that's where the students, mainly due to lack of management of time, where they fall short because they don't offer enough information and argument and debate and analysis to be able to get full marks for that thing. People do get good marks, but so in question 2, you've got this is a academic report and critical analysis. So we're looking at question 2.1, the entrepreneurial process. Question 2.2 is forms of ownerships, private versus public companies. And then basically you get a 10-mark bonus if you structure your submission properly. And I'll get to that because this is just the overview. Okay, so we're going to do each question separately like we did with 1. Okay. I need to chunk this. I'm just going to stop the recording. Sorry, I should have done that